Hello everybody, this is Stephanie with Sam Designs, and I've got a Valentine's Day craft for you today. So we're going to be using some driftwood, and I love this driftwood and I know a lot of you do too. So I wanted to make a cute heart out of this, and first I'm going to get my backing, and it is just a blank canvas board that I'm going to paint with a gray chalk paint, and I used a Waverly gray. And I am going to take a little bit of my white in a separate container because I want to give the gray just a little bit of texture, and I just didn't want it to be the flat gray. So usually any background that I'm going to paint on a canvas, I always like to add a little bit of texture. I do different methods, but this one today is just the gray and the white. So as you can see, I'm sped up the video a little bit, but I wanted to do a quick video of what I used and my technique I used. And so I just took a paintbrush and kind of kept working the white into the gray there until I got the texture that I wanted. So the texture's going up and down, and I got it just how I wanted it. I wanted it a little muted, but not too distracting for the driftwood pieces that are going to go on top. But once that was fully dry, I grabbed my driftwood. So I ordered this driftwood off of Amazon, and you'll be able to find the link in my blog post for this, that you can order the driftwood as well. This is the perfect driftwood for crafts. And I got about 2 crafts out of this one. So one, I had made a tree that I'll also have in my blog post. It was more of like a beach Christmas tree, and it was super cute. And I did that a couple years ago. And the rest of this I used for this heart. So it was just about a medium-sized bag, and I'll probably be ordering more because this driftwood is so cute for so many things. So I thought that this was probably the trickiest part about the whole craft because I only had so many pieces and I needed to make it into a nice little heart, and I wanted to make sure that everything fit together perfectly. So I just messed with that a little bit and got all the pieces to fit right. And once the pieces were the way I wanted them, I laid them in place, just kept them in place and warmed up my glue gun. And then I picked up each individual piece so I could glue each one down and keep it in place, because it took me so long to make sure that everything was perfectly in the placement to make my heart. I didn't want anything to shift. So I glued them each down and put them in place. And once it was completely all together and glued down, I just let everything dry. And then you always get those little strings from the glue gun. So after everything was dry, I pulled those little pieces out. And then I love the way it is just like this. So I love the gray background, and I liked the lighter color of driftwood. And I've seen a ton of these around and nothing exactly like this one. And that's why I love to show you guys these ideas, because I want you to take the ideas and kind of tweak it to make it your own. So what I do love about this is the simplicity and the rusticness of it. However, I always love a little bit of color, and it is Valentine's Day here soon. So I found this rustic brown wire from Dollar Tree, and it had these little berries every couple inches. So I have had this in my craft pile, but I saw this as I was going through some of my craft pile, and I saw that this would just be perfect to loosely wrap around it, or I did mine a little bit tighter, but even loosely would be really kind of neat because you can see that brown and it matches the rustic feel of the driftwood, and it adds a little bit of color. So I have a hard time with not adding color to things, especially with Valentine's Day just around the corner. So I decided to use this, and I wrapped it all the way around using a little bit of glue just to hold it into place and making sure that the berries were laying down nicely. And this was kind of fun because it just really gave it a little bit of shape and character. And I have seen a few different driftwood pieces out there, but nothing like this with the wire around it. So it really made it unique and one of a kind. So once I was done, I cut the wire, and I realized that I had a perfect enough amount to wrap it around a second time. And so I decided to do that one more time. So I wrapped it, and I started on the top of the side of the heart, and they started to overlap in some parts. The red started to overlap. So I cut it in different parts so it would not, so the red was spaced out a little bit. As you can see, I am gluing it down in different parts just so the red is evenly spaced. And this turned out well. I wasn't for sure if it was going to look a little hodgepodge, but it turned out really nicely. So then the next thing, I love these Dollar Tree Valentine's Day cards because I use them for different things. Like I tore that little envelope off with the heart because I'll save that for something else for one of my Valentine's Day crafts. across, and I decided I just loved this little love sign. And when I was looking at this, I love just the way the heart is, but I just felt like it needed a little something more. So as you're crafting, sometimes you just kind of go with it. And I usually like things simple, but I knew, number one, I wanted to use this red and white gingham ribbon somewhere, even if it was just a little bow tied to the side. But once I saw this love sign, I decided to work with them both together. So I tied that on the back, just like it was almost like a little sash going across. And then I took the little love sign and just put a little bit of glue on top of that gingham ribbon, and it just, I think, made the sign. It was simple enough. If you wanted, you can add like a little bit of accent of ribbon on the corner if you felt like it wasn't enough, but this just gives you an idea of what you can do with it, and what you can do with the driftwood, and what you can use just using a few accent pieces. So I'm happy with the way it turned out, and I'm already decorating for Valentine's Day, so there's so many neat ideas out there. So I will be back for more, and I appreciate you watching, and stay tuned for more.